Allegories. That's a hard word. Allegories. What are they? Is it a plant? A type of paper? A ceramic? Nope. No, neither of them. Allegories sound difficult to comprehend, but it's really simple actually. Allegories are everywhere. They're hidden in more books and stories than you could ever imagine. Behind every story is some truth. What is an allegory, you may ask? An allegory is a type of writing or picture that can be made to reveal a certain meaning about something. Well, the well-known book Animal Farm, written by George Orwell, turned out to be an allegory too. Okay, I know you're wondering what that is, but it's a pig, okay? And that is a very interesting type of writing, but whatever. Well, while the Russian Revolution occurred, there was many things that was happening. What is the Russian Revolution? It's when all the people overthrew and were tired of being treated the way that they were. It was a very traumatic event for Russia. While all of this craziness happened, guess what Orwell did? Nothing. He practically sat from the sidelines watching and observing what would happen until he had a brilliant idea. He would make a book of everything that was going on. And in order to avoid being prosecuted, George Orwell decided to relate everything that was happening, the characters and everything, to a random book that he would make filled with animals and creatures that no one ever heard of, but with the exact same personalities as the one in the Russian Revolution. Smart, right? For example, the pigs in Animal Farm related to the Russian council that was known in the Russian Revolution. They all sat from the sidelines. It didn't really do much, but they made a big impact on the society and agreed to whatever the leader said. My opinion? I believe that Mr. Jones was disguised as one of the older leaders because he is mentioned multiple times as a terrible leader that was overthrown, resulting in him fleeing far away, yet always seeking revenge. I think Orwell had a negative vibe when it came to the leaders of the Russian Revolution. He says how the leaders was always drinking and says the animals think of him as disgusting and how they were all tired of being man-slaves. I believe a leader that played a huge role in Animal Farm was Napoleon. Yes, he was the one that overtook the farm from the first place. He gave the animals extremely hard tasks with limited food and water. Normally, anyone would complain about the conditions they were in, although Napoleon's ally, Squealer, made everything seem better than it really was. Alright, so now you understand the basic concept of an allegorical tale, but did you know that there can be more than one pieces of writing within a novel? Yep, allegory tales tie right into a different piece of writing. That piece of writing is rhetorical tales, which is a type of writing that has a persuasive effect to writing. The author uses rhetorical tales devices in their writing if they want to persuade the audience into changing their opinions based on a certain subject. This too was used in Animal Farm. For example, George Orwell consistently over-exaggerated details in the book to obviously make a point. Well, it would be much harder if Orwell didn't emphasize that hurt the animals were withstanding as well as the systems that was being run in the farm. Basically, details mean everything. Now, I think Orwell is trying to persuade the audience on their views on the Russian Revolution. I think he's trying to do this by writing down the facts in an interesting and fictional way and letting the audience put the puzzle pieces together to see what it all means. For example, some of the final words in Animal Farm was, "The creatures outside looked from pig to man and from man to pig and from pig to man again, but already it was impossible to say which one was which." These last words left the audience guessing what something they were meant, while some may think it is a simple ending to a fictional story. In my opinion, Orwell is setting out practically a warning to the audience. Many times he thoroughly explains vicious things the humans did to the animals. He describes the humans in a way that makes them look like monsters. I believe he was trying to get a point across. Even our own race can act like animals. It changed people, and I think Orwell is trying to caution the audience that this same thing could happen to us too. All we need is a little spark. Alright, so now that we have an essential understanding about what Orwell is talking about, we can now dig a little deeper into the meaning of all of this. Even though most of the puzzle pieces fit together, well, there's still and always will be some shady areas. Well, everyone knows that a book is never good unless there is a little mystery to it. The mystery to the story is what makes it fun and exciting to read. At first, you don't exactly know what Orwell is actually relating to, but soon after, you fit the pieces together and figure it out. You never know every part of a mystery, but that's the best part of a mystery. You get a use of the part of our brain called our imagination. You can make of this book however you would like. It's up to you. You get to decide what happens next and how the life goes on after what happened in the book. It's your imagination, and it's up to you. Now, referring back to rhetorical and allegorical devices, you may still have some questions regarding this subject. So let's rewind, take a step back, so you can understand what I'm trying to say in account of this. There's no doubt that this novel was successful when it comes to how it was written. For example, in the beginning of the book, Old Major gives a speech. The speech inspired the importance of animalism. During his speech, Old Major talks about how they would be turned to glue under Mr. Jones's rule. He's trying to say that this would not happen if animalism took over. This may have diminished the strength of animalism and inspired others for the idea of Napoleon's type of government. Throughout the book, Boxer is known as the animal that has a great deal of sympathy. He tries his hardest and best at everything he does, although it is difficult for him to understand all of the rules and concepts of animalism. Boxer was looked up to as an idol and motivated all the other animals to do their best. He always had two sayings: I will work harder, and later, Napoleon is always right. Even though when Napoleon ruled, it was tyrannical. This book has brought a whole new level of imagination into the lives of readers. The mystery, types of writing, as well as the fun included in the book has the audience hooked in this fictional yet educational novel.